Let me tell you, the story we're about to get into is one of the most exciting in modern history. Seriously, forget dusty libraries and quiet digs. This story has it all: a lost sheep, a secret cave, political intrigue, and a discovery that would literally rewrite our understanding of the ancient world. Today, we are diving deep into the Dead Sea Scrolls.
So let me just start by asking you a question. What do you think was the single most important archaeological find of the entire 20th century? There are a lot of good answers, but a very strong case can be made for the one we're talking about today. And by the end of this, I think you'll see exactly why.
You see, this absolutely world-changing discovery didn't start with a team of professors or a meticulously planned excavation. Nope. It all began by pure chance, with a wandering animal and the totally unexpected sound of pottery shattering in the desert.
And this is where the story gets, well, truly cloak and dagger. The timing of this find was just incredible. It happened right on the brink of war, which meant that just holding on to these priceless texts became a desperate, high-stakes race against a ticking clock.
Okay, so picture this. It's 1947, in the rugged Judean desert. A young Bedouin shepherd is out looking for a stray from his flock. He's bored, so he idly tosses a rock into a dark opening on a cliff face. But instead of the dull thud he expects, he hears a clink, that unmistakable sound of something breaking. What he and his cousin found inside wasn't gold or jewels. It was something infinitely more valuable: ancient leather scrolls, wrapped up in linen and hidden in clay jars. The timing could not have been more chaotic. Just as these scrolls were being discovered, the United Nations voted to partition the land, and the whole region just erupted. It was total turmoil. I mean, in a scene that sounds like it's straight out of a movie, an archaeologist named Yigal Yadin managed to get his hands on 3 of the scrolls on the very last bus leaving town before the borders slammed shut. It was a literal race against history.
Meanwhile, the other 4 original scrolls, well, they ended up with a Syrian Orthodox archbishop in Jerusalem. And the price he paid for what would become known as some of the most important manuscripts in human history? Are you ready for this? $100. Just $100. Of course, it didn't take long for people to figure out what these really were. That archbishop, Father Samuel, eventually took his 4 scrolls to the United States. And then in 1954, he placed this small, kind of unassuming ad in the Wall Street Journal. They were bought on behalf of Israel for $250,000. A pretty good return on his investment, right?
But here's the thing. That initial discovery in that first cave, it was just the tip of the iceberg. What archaeologists would end up finding wasn't just a few scrolls. It was an entire library, a vast collection of knowledge that had been completely lost to the world for 2,000 years.
So the search was on. In the years that followed, a massive hunt of the area revealed a total of 11 caves, 11, that held these ancient texts, all clustered around an ancient settlement called Qumran.
And from all the scraps and fragments they pulled out of these caves, scholars have managed to piece together over 800 separate manuscripts. Just think about that number for a second. It's absolutely staggering.
But now, it's not like they found 800 complete scrolls. Oh no, what they found were over 15,000 fragments. Little scraps of leather and papyrus, some no bigger than your thumbnail. The job of putting them back together was, well, you can imagine.
This quote just nails it. Imagine someone dumps a 15,000-piece jigsaw puzzle in front of you, but there's no picture on the box to guide you, and all the pieces are basically the same color and shape. That's the almost impossible task that scholars were facing.
So what was actually in this incredible library? Well, about a quarter of it was stuff we already knew, copies of books from the Hebrew Bible. But the really shocking part was the other 3/4. The vast majority of the texts were what we call sectarian texts, writings that belonged exclusively to the community that lived there, and they gave us this unbelievable window into their lost world.
And this is where we get a real peek behind the curtain. These texts included things like their detailed rulebook for life, a wild prophecy about a final battle between the sons of light and sons of darkness, blueprints for a new and perfect temple, and even, get this, a mysterious scroll made of copper that listed the locations of dozens of buried treasures. And no, none of it has ever been found.
All right, so this all begs the big question, right? Who on earth were these people? Who were these scribes who copied all these texts and so carefully hid them away in these caves? To figure that out, we have to look at the clues they left behind.
Well, all the evidence points to a specific community that built a settlement right there, at Qumran, near the caves.
The leading theory is that they were a breakaway Jewish group, probably the Essenes, who were just disgusted with what they saw as corruption back in Jerusalem, so they went out into the desert to live what they believed was a purer life and wait for the end of the world.
And the ruins of Qumran, they really paint a picture for us. Archaeologists found what looks like a scriptorium, a writing room, complete with an old inkwell. They found tons of ritual baths, which shows how obsessed they were with purity. And they found evidence of huge communal meals and almost no private living quarters, which points to this shared, almost monastic lifestyle.
And then there's this one last really fascinating clue. The main cemetery right next to the settlement, it has over 1,000 graves. And the skeletons they've examined from it are almost all male. This just adds to that picture of a devout, maybe even celibate brotherhood living out in the desert, waiting for the end of days.
So, okay, we've got the incredible discovery story. We've got this mysterious community, but let's get to the bottom line. Why do these scrolls really matter? What's the big takeaway? Well, their greatest importance by far lies in how they answered a single question that had stumped experts for hundreds of years.
You have to put yourself in the shoes of scholars. For centuries, they had this huge 1,000-year gap in the historical record. See, the oldest complete copies of the Hebrew Bible they had were from the Middle Ages. And the big question was always, how much did the text change in the 1,000 years before that? Could we trust that the copies we had were accurate?
And this is the mic drop moment. Before the scrolls, our oldest manuscript was from around 900 AD. The Dead Sea Scrolls gave us biblical texts from as far back as 100 BC. Just like that, boom, this one discovery closed a 1,000-year gap in our knowledge. It pushed the evidence back an entire millennium.
This 1,000-year leap meant scholars could finally do something they had only ever dreamed of. They could compare the ancient texts from Qumran with the medieval copies they already had. And the result was breathtaking. I mean, despite 1,000 years of being copied by hand over and over again, the texts were virtually identical. It was just undeniable proof of how incredibly careful the scribal tradition had been.
The discovery of the Dead Sea Scrolls was, in so many ways, a miracle. It answered a question that many thought was simply unanswerable. But it also leaves us with this kind of haunting final thought. We know for a fact that some of the caves, which are made of soft stone, have literally eroded and washed away in just the last 70 years. And it just makes you wonder, doesn't it? What other texts, what other secrets from this incredible lost library have already been lost to time?